Hi, and today we have the Kia Rio. This is the all-new Kia Rio. It's slightly longer. In fact, it's 15 millimeters longer than the old car. A lot of it in the front overhang, as you can see. It's also fractionally wider and fractionally lower by 5 millimeters, in fact. Comes in two shapes, a 4-door or this far better looking 5-door hatchback. Certainly to my eyes, I think this looks actually really good. Now, you also get this with a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder 16-valve engine, giving you 100 brake horsepower on 98 pounds-foot of torque, or you can go you can splurge a little bit and go for the 1.6 that you've got in this car, which gives you 123 brake horsepower and 111 pounds-foot of torque. That goes to the front wheels through a 6-speed automatic in both engines actually, and I haven't been given any official figures for the performance, but from what I've seen on the internet, I guesstimate a 0 to 100 time of about 9.5 seconds for this car. The prices start from 48,000 dirhams, which is $13,000, up to 59,000 dirhams, which is $16,000 for this top spec car. And what do you get for your money? Well, this spec gives you actually climate control. You get auto locking, you know, as you drive off it locks itself, so you get keyless entry and keyless start. You get tire pressure monitoring as well as a trip computer inside. There's a Bluetooth stereo, there's cruise control. You get these 17-inch alloys. Lower spec cars get 15-inch alloys. You get a sunroof, you get leather upholstery and a leather covered steering wheel, and you get a reversing camera. Pretty cool, huh? So it's a compact little thing, but how spacious and practical is it inside? Well, let's start as usual with the boot. So not bad boot, sort of average size for this type of car. Actually a little bit bigger because it's quite wide this way. Plenty of space to put your suitcases and stuff if you have to. I reckon you could get a couple in there without too much problem. Not too much else back here. There's a little pocket over here. I don't know what purpose really that serves. A hook there, and on the other side where you can hang shopping bags. Underneath here you've got a spare tire. I believe that's a full-size spare tire, and a toolkit nicely sort of stacked away there. But that's pretty much it. You do get 60/40 split folding seats, so let's try that. Just a handle from there, and oh, down it goes. It doesn't fold entirely flat, but does give you a little bit of extra space should you need it if you want to fold both seats down. Right, let's see what the rear cabin space is like. Right then, so I'm over 6 foot, of course, as you know, a bit lanky. This front seat is set for me, and as you can see, it's a little bit tight. It is a little bit tight, to be honest. And my legs, my knees, my shins are right up against the seat, as you can see. Feet are okay, but otherwise, it's a little bit cramped for me. Let's put this seat up. Oh, I have to say, the seats are really nicely done though. I mean, look at the two-tone leather, and it's sort of perforated leather, gives it a sort of nice luxury look, really. I actually do like the way that's done. There's no center armrest, nothing here, but it does get Isofix child seat anchor points in these rear seats. You don't get much back here. There aren't even any AC vents. What you do get is a power supply. Now, is that? Yes, it is a USB. It's a USB, so you've got one USB back here, so that's quite handy. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So I'll tell you what, let's get in the front of the car. If I can get out. Yeah. Here we are in the Kia Rio. Let's start it up. No problems with space in the front. Very spacious actually, even for my frame. The seating position is pretty good. Plenty of leg room. The seat is mechanical, so it's not power adjustments, which is a bit odd because it's a really nice sort of plus seat, but actually it's got mechanical things there. But it does slide back and forth, and also you get tilt and reach adjustable steering wheel as well, so that's quite handy. What else do you get in here? Well, it's pretty well kitted out, but before we're looking at the kit, let's look at the style, because I do like this. I put up a picture on this when I first got the car. I like to put up a hashtag guess the car, and I put up this angle here, and a lot of people thought it was a VW or an Audi group product, just because of the color coordination and the quality of the steering wheel and interior. All the usual stuff to expect: seat controls, you've got traction, it's got traction control, stability control, there's a button over there, not that it makes much difference. You've got remote control buttons for the stereo and the cruise control on the steering wheel itself, and there's your instrument panel. It's only got a center digital bit. The two outer bits are actually analog, and if I can operate it from here, there's your trip computer, so you can go through the various settings from there. Driver info, there's two settings, and then you go to a trip computer, and as you can see, I've been getting around 8 liters per 100. I've done about 560 kilometers in this thing, and I got 8.1 liters per 100. It's okay. It's not too bad for a car of this size. This is nice because it's got this nice sort of red slash all the way across the dashboard there. And this stuff is not like, I'm not saying it's really quality plastic, but it has a nice sort of friction to it, and that gives it an air of slightly better quality. A little glove box there with a first aid kit, so that's quite good. A little screen here with some controls, but basically this is just your infotainment, so it's just your radio and your clock and that sort of stuff. Down here you've got a nice arrangement here for the climate control. I do like the way this looks actually. It's a very pod-like thing with these sort of toggle-esque buttons, but they're not really toggle-esque buttons. Down here you've got your USB and your aux, a 12-volt power supply in addition to a lighter, but what's also very clever is this shelf here. You see this shelf here? That's actually perfect to put your smartphone on, and then you can plug it in there as well. I don't think that's a wireless charging point, but it's nice, and the thing is, because it's got ledges on each side, your phone won't rush off. In addition to that, you've got this space here, so quite practical. There's some blanked out buttons here, which I don't know what spec that should be. I mean, considering this is the top spec. Normal gear shifter there. Handbrake, normal handbrake actually, so a bit of handbrake turns. No. 2 cup holders or an ashtray, whichever you choose. And over here you have a cubby box, which I can't open. Oh, there you go. Cubby box, a little bit room is taken up here by the surround for the handbrake, as you can see, but otherwise it's not too bad. So yeah, pretty good here, pretty comfortable, good all-round visibility, good seating position. Time to take it for a drive. Right then. Let's give this 1.6, 123. Whoa. Whoa, there you go. I'll tell you what, I've been driving this car around, and you know, that engine is good enough. It's good enough for city driving. It really is. It's fine. Performance is adequate. You know, punch is adequate. Look, I mean, it's not bad. This is a speed bumper, so I slowed down, but you know, and the gearbox is very good actually. No issues at all. You know, it's just an ordinary torque converter automatic. You know, there's no fancy stuff. It just works very well. There's a sports mode. You switch it over to the left, and then you can sequentially go up and down the gears. And you do get a little display here on the dashboard that tells you what gear you're in. But there's no flappy paddles, so none of that. So I just leave it in automatic. It doesn't make a lot of difference, especially for around town stuff as we're doing now. What good thing about this car is the way it handles. I mean, the turn-in is actually really keen. I really like the way it turns in. It sort of dives in a little bit, and it grips really well too. The only thing I would say, throwing it around some slightly bumpier corners, I found the body control isn't great. So it probably could do with a little bit more rigidity, maybe an anti-roll, stronger anti-roll bar, I'm not sure. But you do get a little bit of a shimmy from the body. And the damping as well is a little bit errant. But other than that, it grips and it turns in. And the understeer is remarkably well controlled and well contained, so it's not really even an issue. And around town, it's very maneuverable, very easy. Its compact size makes it wonderful to go around the streets and in and out of parking spaces, no issue whatsoever. Reversing camera obviously helps. The other good thing about this car, there's quite a few good things about this car, aren't there? The other good thing about this car is the ride. The ride comfort's actually very good. Even though this is on the lower profile wheels, this one's got the 17-inch rims on it, but the ride comfort, that's over a speed bump. But the damping is quite effective. It's quite, you know, it's more of a thud rather than a clang clang sort of thing, you know. So they've come a long way from suspensions of old on these Korean cars, where it does provide, so a little bit of a rut here. Yeah, so just you can just hear it and just feel it, but it's softly sprung in the sense that it mutes it quite a lot and it subdues it quite effectively. So it's actually very good in that sense. So no real issue whatsoever. The other thing I was going to say about this car, steering is actually quite good. No issues. Feels generally linear and reasonably accurate, reasonably responsive. Not a ton of feel, but you know, adequate for what it is. Now, the thing about this car, having said that about the handling and about the steering and stuff like that, is that I would add that it could do with more power. And when I say it could do with more power, I don't mean that in a, oh my god, it's a bit gutless, oh, I have to really work it. No, it's actually fine. As you can see, it's not an issue of just turning into traffic there. It's not really an issue. What I mean by it could do with more power is that it could do with more power. You know, it's like, yeah, it actually feels, the chassis and the setup and the handling and the responsiveness actually feels like actually it could make quite a good, dare I say this, hot hatch. You know, maybe I would say 160, 170 horsepower in this thing would actually be quite a hoot. added to a manual gearbox, I think this would be actually a tremendous amount of fun. The other thing I got to say about this car is, having lived with the car for a few days now, is that, and this is possibly hard to compute, I should imagine, especially when you think I'm telling you this about a Korean product, it's got a bit of feel good in this car. You know, the quality of the interior trim, the two-tone seats, I mean, admittedly this is a top spec car, the equipment that you get in the car, the very decent air conditioning in this car. Stereo could be better, air conditioning is quite good, but the overall feel and the look of the car lends it a kind of, oh, dare I say, a quality upmarket feel. I think Kia has been working quite hard now on this aspect. I mean, I remember driving Rios from a few years ago, and they were cheap, and you could tell they were cheap, and they were like, yeah, I've bought a cheap car. But in this car, no, you don't necessarily feel that. You feel like, I've invested my money wisely. This is quite a nice interior. It's quite a nice car to just get around in. So there you go. Overall, I think, fourth generation Kia, well done, Kia. Massive thumbs up. It's really getting there, and I think that you could quite easily turn this into a bit of an entertaining, fun little drive, really, with a bit more power to give it that hot hatch credibility. So I hope they introduce something like that. I'd definitely be keen to try it. But this car as it is, I think maybe look at the lower price ones for better value, because 59 for this size of car for a Korean car is maybe on the slightly high side. But having said that, what else is in the market if you want something with a little bit of a nice feel good about it? So, but definitely worth looking at this range. Thumbs up from us. That's our review. Tell us what you think about this car. It'd be great to hear from you. Put your comments below or wherever else you can. Thanks so much for watching. Do please follow us, motoringme.com. Find us on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, if you're on YouTube, please do like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends. That'd be great. You could also follow me on my social media. I'll put some @ down here or something. And you don't have to, but it'd be nice to see you there. So it'd be great. So until the next one,